Welcome back. Now, as always, we're going to finish with the hero and the villain segment. But first, we're going to talk about the lack of investigation large numbers of people seem to do, even, sadly, in the alternative media. So many things are taken at face value when really they shouldn't be. I mean, we've all heard the she's controlled opposition, he's a shill, and in me and Gareth's case, apparently we're women. Now, somebody who knows a fair amount about this is my dad, David, who joins me now.
Thank you. Apart from you being women, they're all wrong, of course.
Apparently so. Yeah, there's a whole website dedicated to it. So in terms of, you'd think people looking at alternative information will be more inquisitive, they'll be more sceptical, but we've seen, a lot of people just take things at face value, which then is used to discredit the alternative media to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've been saying a lot recently is that this global cult that I talk about concerns me less than the reaction of the population to what they're being told to think and told to do. Because with the cult, you're dealing with a fraction of the number in the target population of what, now 8 billion? That can only happen, the few controlling that many, if great chunks of the many do one of two things. They believe what they're told without question and then behave as they're told to behave, or they really don't want to do it but are frightened of not doing it. And those two groups are responsible for why we're in the situation we're in and why a few can control the world, which is why when you go back through history, you find the few control the many all the way through, because this process has gone on. And it's sad to see that some elements of the alternative media go down the same road. Yep. And basically, this is what it is. Someone says something, but you don't say, okay, so where's your evidence?
Yep.
You believe it. And, I've had this experience over and over again. In the Netherlands, for instance, the government and the media and these other groups there that have an interest in silencing me say that I'm this, I'm saying this, I believe in that, all of which is nonsense. And then vast tracts of people in the Netherlands believe it's true and start responding and reacting to me as if it's true. And, it's this process of this is how it is. I'm not asking for evidence, I'll just believe you. That's got us into this absolute mess. Because if we didn't do that, then the world will be a very different place.
Do you think some of it is the whole, we've said this before about look at what somebody does, not who it is, what somebody is saying, not who is saying it. Do you think there's a little bit of that? People look at the BBC, it's the BBC, we must trust them, therefore what they're saying must be true. And people that are alternative thinking do the same. Look, Alex Jones said it must be true, I won't investigate it. When in both cases, you should always do your own research.
Including what I say.
Yep.
If people want to look at my books, they'll see the evidence to support what I'm saying. But I'd like them to look at the evidence and not just accept what I'm saying without question. And one of the great things that can obviously is at the heart of what leads to seeing what's happening is your own eyes. So many people believe what they're told when actually their own eyes, if they looked around, would be telling them something different.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenon that has to change, and I hope as we move into the new year that people will start to question more and more and more. I mean, there's a situation that affects me personally. It doesn't really affect me that much, but it's a personal story, and that is there's a lady on the internet. This is actually a very, very good example of what we're talking about. There's a lady on the internet who accuses me of being a Satanist, right? Yeah. And anyone that asks for evidence is immediately blocked, so they're not allowed to have a say. I know you've said, come on the show, come on Ickonic, and we'll, without any censorship, let you say and produce your evidence. Of course, you get a mouthful back because there is no evidence.
Yep.
And this is the same lady that is telling her followers that I'm not banned from 26 European countries. but it's just made up by the media. Well, it's funny because in a few days I'm going to be appearing on Zoom, as it seems to be at the moment, in a court case in the Netherlands in which lawyers are challenging that very ban that has apparently just been made up by the newspapers.
Yep.
So what I'm saying here is this example is it's not her so much as, of course, when you're well known, you're always going to get morons.
Of course, yeah.
And actually, in this case, nasty pieces of work, who are going to say things about you without any evidence. Of course, that's going to happen. What I find shocking is the people that think they're streetwise who actually believe it. You see comments like, yeah, I always thought he was,
Yeah, I know.
And
based on what?
I was on one of these peace marches and COVID, anti-COVID lockdown marches in London. And this kid came up to me, he said, with a knowing look, "We know you're a Satanist." You know what? And this is what I mean. When people say something about someone, demand the evidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you don't, you're doing exactly what the population do in general, which you call them sheeple. But you're doing the same. And this has got to stop, because if it doesn't, we'll get manipulated into supporting things and discrediting people that this system and this cult absolutely wants discrediting. And that's just one final point on that. This is the question. It applies to the Netherlands and it applies to this lady. Why do people, when they make these claims which are attempting to discredit someone, why do they not say, well, hold on a minute, what's your agenda?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are you trying to discredit this guy who's, or in the Netherlands case, collectively through the media and the government, why are you trying to discredit this guy who spent coming into 33 years exposing this stuff? What's your agenda?
Yeah, they don't do
but
that.
This doesn't happen in so many cases. They just believe it without question. And like I say, it's how we got into this mess, and it's certainly not going to be the way we get out of it.
No, I completely agree. And as we always say on this channel, and you've always said, always do your own research. What justifies itself to you is what has to be the barometer of what you believe, not just because somebody says it.